At this point, let's talk to Iloilo First District Congresswoman Janette Garin about the ongoing deliberations for the proposed 2026 budget. Good morning po, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
Well, ma'am, let me start off with this. This big debate over whether or not to send the NEP of 2026 back to the DBM. Your stand on this?
Well, it was the consensus of all the party leaders to request the Speaker to send back the National Expenditure Program for 2026 back to the DBM. Not for anything else, pero rinig naman natin ang direktiba ng Pangulo during his SONA that every peso spent should be targeted on the needs of every Juan and Maria in our country. Subalit, nung nakikita na nga yung 2026 NEP, akala namin nung una, kasi yun yung mga alegasyon na yung small committee, yung BICAM, dun lamang yung may problema. But apparently, the problem is systemic. So we want to know where are these items para pagdating sa Kongreso, mas mabilis ang trabaho. We don't want to be remiss of our duty that we will pass the General Appropriations Act, but there are hidden items that we failed to dig out and amend.
I understand po, and that's actually good that you're being more alert with regard to the budget proposal from Malacanang. Pero I suppose this is not the first time that this problem has cropped up or that this problem has been there. It's just that ngayon lang ata nabigyan ng pansin ng Kongreso na yung mismong NEP na binibigay ng Malacanang o ng at least ng executive, kung hindi butas-butas, doble-doble. I mean, what also accounts for that? Bakit po ngayon lamang ang Kongreso talaga nagmamatsag doon sa NEP? I mean, I don't think it's the first time.
Just to be clear, no, we are not targeting Malacanang. We are returning it back to DBM because all the budget calls and all the technical briefings happened within the Department of Budget and Management. And historical data would actually tell them or point to them unless merong tao dun sa loob, sa baba na nakakaalam, historical data will tell them that there are actually what we call siningit na hindi naman kailangan sa baba and ended up in the National Expenditure Program. Why did Congress just look at it now? Initially, we didn't know that it was there. We saw it. Minsan meron kang mga hinala, pero parang hindi to. Because reforms were, let's focus on TPWH. But I'm not sure kasi if it's the only agency. Our dilemma is that some members and even the chairman of the Committee on Appropriations is slowly telling us na, oops, may mga nakikita siya sa mga ibang departamento. We are not yet sure. Pero merong parang flags. And initially, wala kang mali siya because reforms, let's say in DPWH, was already done by Secretary Babe Singson. Maraming pinagbawal, meron ng mga master plan. And now when we went back, kasi usually yung ibang mga congressman, not all, but most of the congressmen, you will look at the area of your responsibility, hindi mo na nakikita yung pangkabuhan minsan. And sa dami ng mga ahensya, aakyat yan ng Senado. Ngayon, ganun din ang ginagawa ng Senado, nakikita ito. We were of the belief that all of these ghost projects, substandard projects, were congressional or Senate insertions. Unfortunately, when the investigation happened, Secretary Bonoan admitted that these ghost projects were all in the NEP. They were agency initiative. Ibig sabihin, nanggaling pinasingit ito ng isang ahensya. Whether it is DBM, whether it is DPWH, we do not know.
Okay.
Parang yan if I may may bahay. Ninakawan yung isang bahay. After 1 year, ninakawan ulit yung isang bahay. After another year, ninakawan ulit yung bahay. Ang tanong, sino ba ang nagbubukas ng pinto? Because we need to solve this problem once and for all. Reforms that were initiated before, overturned by maybe the previous administration, but we have to validate that. Yan yung mga bagay-bagay na dapat talagang tuldukan at ayusin.
Okay, ma'am, of course, the DPWH is under the microscope. The district engineers are also under the microscope, but also Congress is under the microscope. All these reports of legislators also doubling as contractors or belonging to families that own construction businesses. Of course, the qualifier is that it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if that's your family, that's your family. It's only a question of whether or not you should inhibit in the event that there is a conflict of interest. Your thoughts on that po? Kasi, for example, the Philippine Star listed 5 members of Congress who are linked to construction companies because of their families, who are also chairman of the Infracom. I was talking to Congressman Ridon about this earlier, and ang sabi, for example, ni Congressman Ridon is, we will have to trust the undertaking that they will sign. Yung napagkasunod pong undertaking na kung may conflict of interest, kung may financial or pecuniary interest ang mga members ng Infracom. But I was wondering about your thoughts here. How do we decide or determine who has a conflict of interest to begin with?
Well, that is something that is a work in progress. But what we are seeing as a bigger problem is the fact that may mga nangyayari sa loob, no? Even before it reaches Congress, okay, the participation of some congressman is something that should be looked into. We are not saying that they will be exempt from the investigation. That's why I was correcting Congressman Toby Chanco. Kasi wag niyang lahatin. Kami sang-ayon kaming panagutin ang mga kongresistang kung meron man or kung totoo yung alegasyon. But our bigger problem lies on the fact na sino ang tagabukas ng pinto? Sino yung mga nagsisingit? Kasi we are also hearing it from the grounds na yung iba walang magawa. You need projects for your areas. The governors, the mayors, may mga kailangan sila. And then merong mga, sabihin na natin, nag-aalok. Merong maraming mga ahente along the line. The repercussion of this is that you will have substandard projects. Kasi sa dami parang bigas yan eh. Naging mahal ang bawat kilo ng bigas. Kasi from the import price or from the production price from the farmers, may mga wholesalers na naka-monopolize. At doon ka lang pwedeng bumili. Sila lang pwedeng bumili. Lahat ng retailers, lahat ng public markets, you have no choice but to get it from there.
Pero po, the criticism also is na, at least yung allegations, some legislators supposedly are also in touch with the DPWH at the local level to get them to push certain projects. So it
That
goes
will
both
be
ways.
looked into. Dapat tingnan din talaga yan. Pero may nakikita tayong mas malaki. Let's say, the substandard projects. These are agency initiatives. Ibig sabihin, yung pagpasok, yung paglista, either nangyari sa central office ng DPWH or merong mga gumagapang dyan sa mga encoders ng DPWH or DBM. No, we are not accusing anybody. That's why we need to look at the whole gamut of the system. We need to know where. We need to cure this. Kasi ang nangyayari, symptomatic, sintomas lang ang ginagamot. Ito dapat gamutin talaga dun sa cause, the root of the problem.
Okay. Maraming salamat for your time. Iloilo First District Congresswoman Janette Garin, thank you po for joining us this morning.
Thank you.